Students and faculty, you may be seated. And a reminder before we begin to please turn your cell phones off. Welcome families, friends, faculty, trustees, and most importantly, students of the class of 2026. We are honored to gather here today for Rivermont's 141st commencement ceremony. Graduation ceremonies are a ritual that go back to the 12th century when students from medieval universities were conferred the license to teach. The Latin root of the word graduate is gradus, which means step or degree. Over time, graduation ceremonies have come to take on many recognizable characteristics you'll see today. Caps and gowns, a valedictorian, a commencement address, and the awarding of diplomas. Why all the pomp and circumstance? Well, for one thing, I can only imagine the momentousness of this day in the minds of your parents who are watching in the audience or on the Facebook live stream around the world. But for another, rituals to mark occasions such as this one are important for us humans. A couple of weeks ago, I read an op-ed in the New York Times that was titled, "This is the antidote to a lonely life of screens." The author, Bruce Feiler, argued that collective rituals are therapeutic. He wrote, quote, "Rituals are the glue that holds society together, the first human algorithm." Paleoanthropologists have identified what could be ritual gathering places from 300,000 years ago where our earliest ancestors honored their dead. In pretty much every culture ever studied, humans marked moments of uncertainty and joy with collective ceremonial celebrations. Rituals calm us when we're stressed, synchronize our heartbeats when we're scared, and align us to others when we celebrate or mourn together. They strengthen families, neighborhoods, and groups of all kinds. Doesn't that sound like what we need right now? So graduates, let us celebrate you today and all you have achieved. Let us celebrate your families who have sacrificed for you. Let us celebrate your teachers who have guided your path. And let us send you into the world to take the lessons you have learned here and make that world a better, brighter place. This year's valedictorian, Stella Ashdown, has been at Rivermont since 9th grade. Along the way, she has graced us with her incredible talents and kind heart. Please welcome to the stage, Stella Ashdown.
Thank you, Mr. Lawrence, for introducing me. Thank you to my friends and family who came to see me today. And thank you to everyone else in attendance on behalf of the class of 2026 for making the time to be here, and more importantly, for the role you played in getting each of us up on this stage. Now, to the class of 2026, hello, good afternoon, and finally, somehow we all managed to make it to graduation today. It feels like just yesterday we were packed in a van together on the way to Indiana Dunes, becoming the only people in the world who know what really happened at the mall. It's been amazing to watch how our class has grown over the past 4 years, not just in size, but also in closeness, understanding, and though our teachers may disagree, I think maturity too. Those same teachers, you all, are the very reason for this growth. It has been a privilege to have known many of you, not just as educators, but as consultants, therapists, travel buddies, and even parental figures. As we graduate to universities with lecture halls that hold more students than this high school, I think we'll begin to really appreciate that you've not only taught us, but have chosen to know and support us. Speaking for myself, I know that everything I've accomplished I could not have done without your support. When you're 15 at a new school or 17 studying for 4 AP exams, it really does make all the difference knowing that the adults in your life are in your corner. So officially, thank you all. Even if those words don't feel like enough, class of 2026, that's my first piece of wisdom. Thank you will almost never feel like enough, but always say it anyway. Now I'm sure you're all eagerly anticipating the second piece of wisdom in this speech. As some of you may already know, it was really difficult for me to decide what I wanted to say. However, what a lot less of you may know is that the real reason I struggled so much was because my sister was valedictorian of her high school class, and unfortunately, her speech was really good. I'm sure you'd like to know, so I'll give you a quick rundown of what she said. The message that my sister left with her graduating class was to get comfortable being uncomfortable. It's a really valuable lesson and a quote you all should remember. It takes on a bit of a different connotation when you realize she picked it up from her cross-country coach. However, I promise you this applies to more than just running. The whole idea is to be brave. As you go off to college, everything will be new, and there will be plenty of times where you're hesitant, where frankly, you are afraid. But the point isn't to shy away from these feelings. If you're afraid, then you know you're doing it right. Be comfortable being uncomfortable. Don't let opportunities pass you by. Mr. Lawrence, our cross-country coach, has a similar idea that he shares at the start of every year. The idea is based on a psychology principle. When you ask a group of elderly folks what their biggest regrets in life are, they won't tell you about the things they're ashamed of doing. Rather, they'll tell you about the things they're ashamed they didn't do. Think about your own life, and you'll probably find the same is true. Once again, don't let good opportunities pass you by. Find your courage and try every new thing that comes your way. And just like that, you're welcome, grads. I've given you all the life and cross-country advice you'll ever need. Now go out, seize the day, change the world, and simply be brave. Is it really so simple, though? This is the part of the speech where I venture away from the mold my sisters provided me. I remember what it was like listening to her speech and hearing Mr. Lawrence's advice for the first time. I remember being roused and inspired, sure of my purpose and ready to take on anything. But in my experience, staying true to these principles in the real world isn't actually so easy. Being brave is hard. It's one thing to know it, but another thing to live it. So I wanted to share just a little more advice that's helped me. I found within my own life that if you cannot be brave, the solution is to be positive. In my life, there have been many times where opportunities have passed in front of me. Despite knowing I should be taking them, I've let many go by, standing still in my own insecurity. For many of you, like me, there will be times in your life when you don't do the hard thing, when you know you should be brave but still aren't, when you know you need to move through your fear but you're frozen anyway. What do you do? What can you do? For a while, I thought that I just wasn't strong enough. I thought that any struggle came from my own shortcomings and mental toughness. But the answer is more nuanced than that, and I found a small shift in mindset can make a big difference. Some people like to promote negativity as a feature of our generation. We're all inclined to our own opinions, but I will say that I believe within society as a whole, there seems to be a common feeling of cynicism and lack of hope right now. New York Times columnist and Yale senior fellow David Brooks referred to this widespread feeling as resentment. If you've been watching the news and looking around, then you probably know what I'm talking about. It feels like collectively we are on the brink of a major shift in technology and culture. What will come of AI, America, even this school? These are uncertainties we must live with, and a part of our transition to adulthood and higher education is that we will and should continue to think about and question these things. What is my point with all of this, though? Well, what I'm trying to say is that I understand why you're not inclined to think positively. For many of you, I'm sure that just telling you to think positively feels overdone, petty, and probably naive. However, I think it is because of our circumstances that positivity is more meaningful to our generation. I told you all earlier that if you cannot be brave, be positive. I'm telling you all now, this is because positivity is the natural cure to fear. If you are positive, you will be less afraid. That is what it means. To be positive is to sustain your hope so that it is greater than your fear. I know that for this era, our generation, this doesn't come naturally. Fear feeds on uncertainty. However, you have an opportunity to be different. Positivity in the face of widespread disillusionment is an act of rebellion against the resentment that is choking society. To think positively, no matter how trivially, goes against what we're used to, goes against what we know, and goes against what is comfortable. Is that not an act of bravery? Furthermore, I think you will find that with more hope than fear inside of you, the bravery I asked of you earlier in the face of new opportunities and challenges takes hardly any effort at all. So there you go, grads. Let me do this once again. Go out, seize the day, change the world, be brave. Do it with hope in your heart and with an earnest belief that the possibility for goodness means so much more than the chance of dismay. Be unchained from your fear, take the opportunities that come your way, try every new thing, fail, and then try again. Resist the bitterness that wants to define you and embrace a new defiant humanism. Class of 2026, it's okay to be afraid. but please never stop believing in yourselves. It's been a pleasure to have grown up with you all the past 4 years, and I'm excited to see the amazing things you all will do. Thank you.
Thank you, Stella. I'm never sure what quotes stick in kids' heads, so that was really nice to hear. The Larned A. Waterman Distinguished Teaching Award was awarded at the lower school promotion, but we want to mention it again today. In memory of her late husband, Larned A. Waterman, a prominent Quad City leader and attorney, Mary Waterman endowed a teaching chair in 1988. The chair is awarded annually to a Rivermont faculty member for outstanding teaching. Previous recipients of this award, please stand as I call your name. Julia Durango, Maria Surma, Leanne Schrader, Amber Weeks, and Scott Wellnitz. This year's recipient of the Larned A. Waterman Distinguished Teaching Award was presented, as I said, at the lower school promotion, and also to the parent of a student who is graduating here today. Sarah Krumer, please stand so we can recognize you. The Larned A. Waterman Sports School Service Award is a prize determined by the faculty and given to that member of the senior class who has served the school, his or her fellow students, and/or the Quad City community in an exemplary fashion. This year's recipient of the Larned A. Waterman School Service Award is Stella Ashdown. Stella, please come to the stage to receive this award. Stay here. The Bishop's Prize is presented to the senior who has achieved the highest cumulative semester grade point average over 10th, 11th, and 12th grades at Rivermont. This year, the prize goes to Stella Ashdown. Please come forward to receive this award. To present the art prize is Morgan Jefferson.
This award goes to a student whose creativity and artistic ability have truly stood out among peers. This student continually pushes projects beyond expectations, always looking for ways to elevate assignments through strong technique, thoughtful choices, and creative problem solving. Whether working in 2D or 3D media, the student approaches every project with curiosity, independence, and confidence, creating imaginative artwork through a wide variety of materials and processes. There is a natural intuition for art that is immediately recognizable, and new skills are picked up incredibly quickly, often mastered after only a short time. One of the most impressive qualities this student brings to the classroom is the ability to utilize techniques and artistic skills that many others do not, bringing a level of depth and sophistication to the work that sets it apart. The student is self-motivated, full of ideas, and never afraid to experiment or take creative risks. Above all, the student shows tremendous potential as an artist, and it has been a privilege to watch that talent continue to grow. I cannot wait to see where the future takes them. It is my honor to present the Art Award to Skyly Altulu.
To present 2 World Language Awards is Maria Surma.
Hello, everybody. I will try this without crying, but I cannot make promises. When I was in college, studying to become a teacher, and someone would ask me, why do you want to teach? The standard answer would have been something like, I want to make a difference in a student's life. I want to inspire and be inspired. I want to open minds. Although those answers would still be true today, in retrospect and from the vantage point of time and experience, I have a much better understanding today of why I teach. I teach so that one day I can see the magic happen in the streets of Madrid. I teach so that one day I can see my students embrace real-life challenges without fear of making mistakes. I teach so that one day my students can say, without a shred of hesitation, that learning Spanish was all worth it. Our spring break trip to Spain was life-changing for many. It was certainly momentous for me. As proud as I am of all the students that went on this trip, I feel the need to recognize two seniors who consistently showed initiative, confidence, and a commitment to using Spanish in authentic, real-world situations. These students did not just visit Spain, they lived Spain. From confidently ordering food to striking up conversations with locals, these students embraced every opportunity to use Spanish in the real world, proving that the best classroom has narrow cobblestone streets and hidden tapas gems. The Language Immersion Award was created to recognize students who fully embraced the opportunity to engage with the Spanish language and culture during their time abroad, and for fearlessly speaking Spanish in Spain, proving that immersion is the best way to learn and occasionally misunderstand. Congratulations, Nico Snyder and Dylan Heller, this year's recipients of this award. Okay. Now for the World Language Award. It's funny how everything comes full circle. I found inspiration for this speech in one of my students' papers. This paper was a personal response to a science fiction short movie about people selling their most treasured memories for huge amounts of money, and other people buying experiences that they will never get by themselves. I asked my students to share in this paper a memory that they would never sell, no matter how much money they got offered. Responses varied, of course, but these students shared something quite special. He said something that can be translated as, I would never sell my memories of Rivermonts, because without my memories of Rivermonts, I would not have a personality. Then he proceeded to say that without Rivermont, he would be dumb and stupid, but I don't think that we need to take that literally. In any case, thank you, Samir, for the inspiration. This line got me thinking. At Rivermont, we strive to help students be the best versions of themselves. But I think most times it is the other way around. It is the students who bring out the best versions of ourselves as teachers. Said differently, I would never be the teacher that I am today hadn't it been for my students, in particular, the student that this speech was written for. This student is the epitome of congeniality. Their presence in my classroom has always been an absolute joy. They have this calming influence on their peers and the ability to bring a sense of direction to the chaos of group projects. They can achieve almost like a perfect balance between enthusiasm and introspection. They can be light and funny, but also insightful and wise. In Spanish, they can effortlessly integrate accuracy and fluency. While accuracy requires precise attention to the intricacies of the language, fluency requires confidence of communication, even allowing for mistakes. This skill alone is what makes the student exceptional. For the great reveal, I will share the one memory that this student will never sell. They said, "I could never sell the memories of our trip to Costa Rica. I would not be the person that I am today without having been to Costa Rica." Right back at you, Stella Ashdown, this year's recipient of the World Language Award.
To present the Dorothy Straw Mathematics Award is Sangman Park.
Upon her 25th anniversary as a Rivermont mentor, the faculty created this plaque in Dorothy's honor to award annually to a student in 10th through 12th grade who shows high achievement and promise in mathematics. This student has consistently demonstrated exceptional achievement, dedication, and enthusiasm in mathematics through her time at Rivermont. She earned the highest scores in the school on the American mathematics competitions, reflecting not only her strong problem-solving ability, but also her persistence and intellectual curiosity. As she prepares to major in mathematics in college, I have no doubt that she will continue to grow and succeed at a very high level. Caitlin, congratulations on receiving the Mathematics Department Award.
To present the Science Department Award is Dr. Scott Wellnitz.
I wouldn't dare try to match Senora Surma's speech. That's inspiring and comes with a great sense of inferiority after listening to all of that. I usually tell students when they ask, because it's my personality, that my primary job as a teacher is to turn them into people that would be interesting to talk to at parties, which I don't think is wrong. There is a kernel of truth there, but the magic is real as a teacher, and getting to know all of you has been a joy and a privilege. And thank you all for tolerating me as a teacher and coming in to talk when you felt overwhelmed. I'll miss you all terribly. The Science Department Award is written to reflect both interests and achievement in the sciences, and as usual, it is a terrible task to choose one to praise when so many excel. The first half of the shared award was presented previously, and today we'll call the second recipient to the stage. The achievement of this student is unmatched this year. Through 4 years, they've taken almost every class I have taught and aced all of them. They downplay their hard work and accomplishments, and I like to think that it is due to humility rather than a lack of confidence. I hope and believe that this student will do something amazing with their talent for science and dedication to their work. Please welcome to the stage the first repeat recipient of the Science Department Award, Stella Ashdown.
To present the Small Family English Prize and the George Neely Writing Award is Julia Durango.
The Small English Prize is named for a valued member of the Rivermont Collegiate family and this year's 2 recipients are equally valued members of our academic community. There are some students who read simply to locate information or arrive at an answer. And then there are students who understand that literature is really an invitation, an opportunity to think more deeply, to question assumptions, to wrestle with ambiguity, and to enter into conversation with ideas that resist easy conclusions. This year's recipients have embraced that invitation fully. Both possess an exceptional facility with language, an instinct for close reading, and the rare ability to move beyond surface-level interpretation into genuine literary inquiry. Their contributions to class discussions have consistently elevated the thinking of those around them, not because they speak the most, but because when they do speak, they bring insight, precision, and intellectual curiosity with them. Although neither plans to pursue English as a primary field of study, I can say with complete sincerity that both would make extraordinary English professors someday, and I would gladly enroll in their courses. Please join me in congratulating Axel Nguyen and August Leinert on receiving the Small English Prize. The George F. Neely Award for Writing is given in honor of longtime Board of Trustees President George F. Neely for excellence in writing. Good writing is difficult to define, but most of us recognize it immediately when we encounter it. It has clarity, it has precision, but beyond that, it possesses something rare, the ability to make us pause and feel that another person has truly seen something worth noticing. This year's recipients, there are also 2 of them, both possess that gift. As writers, they are thoughtful without being self-important, perceptive without being cynical, and honest without ever reaching for easy sentimentality. Their writing reflects the habits of careful observers, people who listen closely, notice details others miss, and are willing to live with complexity instead of simplifying it. There is a wisdom in their writing that feels well beyond their years, and I suspect that everyone who's had the privilege of reading their work would agree that this recognition is richly deserved. Please join me in congratulating Stella Ashdown and Eleanor Carver Ball on receiving the George F. Neely Award.
To present the Bernie Sagow and Millar Athletic Award is Zach Murphy.
The Millar Athletic Award is presented to the school by former trustee Gordon Millar. This plaque is awarded to a student in 9th through 12th grade who excels in one or more sports and exhibits the quality of exemplary sportsmanship. This year's recipient truly exemplifies exceptional sportsmanship on and off the court/field. He's been an integral part of everything Rivermont since kindergarten. Although he's a fierce competitor, he never lets the heat of competition deter him from his high character. Although I often question his character as he is a Bears fan. Just kidding, but go Pack go. He has participated in just about everything Rivermont has to offer over his many years here. Specifically, he's participated in basketball, middle school track, and cross country. This individual is a model student athlete for everyone to look up to, and we couldn't be more proud of the young man you're becoming. It is my pleasure to award this year's recipient of the Millar Award for 2026 to Xavier Robertson. If you're wondering what he whispered to me, he said, it's a swear word, bear down. The Bernie Sago Award is named for longtime Iowa High School Athletic Association director and is awarded to the outstanding student athletes across the state. The award criteria states, the behavior of the student, both in and out of school, shall have consistently been of such high quality as to bring credit to the student, the family, and the school. This year's Sago Award recipient is the textbook example of all this award represents. This athlete has won many awards throughout their 4 years here at Rivermont, including many here today. She has participated in volleyball and soccer, and her behavior was always of such high quality that teammates and opponents alike benefited from competing with and against her. Miss Grimm, her volleyball coach for 4 years, said she was one of the best and most convenient and consistent and well-rounded volleyball players she's ever coached. Her presence on the court and in our hallways will always be deeply felt in the coming years. She brought honor to our athletics program and everything she's been a part of. It's a long list. I'm pleased to present the Bernie Sago Award to Stella Ashdown.
Here to introduce our distinguished speaker is Stewardship Council President and Bears fan, Xavier Robertson.
In her 7 years at Rivermont, Julia Durango has taught lower school Spanish, 3rd grade, and for the past 3 years, her dream job, middle and upper school English. Prior to joining Rivermont, Ms. Durango has worked for 30 years in the field of education, teaching students from preschool to college and all ages in between. She is an author of more than a dozen published children's books, an appointed advocate for abused and neglected children in the court system, the mother of 2 grown sons, and a new grandmother. Though she is retiring at the end of this year as a full-time teacher, she promises to keep close ties with Rivermont, a school where she's had the privilege of teaching some of the finest students of her career and working alongside some of the finest staff and teachers. Please welcome Julia Durango.
Thank you, Xavier, and good afternoon, Rivermont. I'd like to start by thanking the families in this auditorium and overseas for raising 24 of my favorite people. The rest of this speech is for them. I'll begin with a story. In the fall of 2023, I walked into my first day of 10th grade English class. Though I'd been a Rivermont teacher for several years before that, I was new to the upper school and new to these particular students. They were loud. They interrupted each other constantly. They interrupted me constantly. They argued about assignments. They argued about each other. They argued about the most mundane trivialities. If there was any small source of contention to be found, they would find it with relish. Class discussions regularly went off the rails. There were days I went home wondering if we had accomplished anything, literally or literary. But over time, my ear slowly adjusted to the collective noise, and I started to hear individual voices. your individual voices. And honestly, you were brilliant. You were noisy, yes, but you cared about the world. You cared about what was true. And before I knew it, you'd won me over. I'd like to think I won you over too, but if that's not the case, don't tell me now. Don't burst my bubble. One of my favorite memories from that year was our read aloud of Our Town by Thornton Wilder at the end of the year. By then, we had become a strange little community of people who somehow understood one another through readings and discussions and jokes and arguments. And there is something fitting about ending a year with Our Town, a play that reminds us how easy it is to move through life without fully noticing it while we are living it. I think teaching is often like that too. You don't always realize in the moment that something matters. You don't realize that a boisterous class discussion or a ridiculous inside joke or a student staying after class to keep talking about a book will someday become a memory you carry with tenderness. Thank you for that gift. And yes, thank you also for the apology cake you brought for me on the last day of class that year, complete with an intentional grammar error in the icing. I'm still not sure if that was a sign of affection or psychological warfare, possibly both. To those of you not in that 10th grade class because you came later from other countries or another state, you were a perfect addition to the class of 2026. Equally brilliant, equally spirited, and equally opinionated, in a good way. As a dorm parent to many of you, please know that it was an honor to be your substitute mom this year, and I will always be grateful to your parents for sharing you and entrusting us with your care. This past year in English 4 and AP Literature, we read books that were filled with the complicated reality of being human. In Frankenstein, we talked about isolation and what happens when people feel unseen or unloved. In Hamlet, we wrestled with uncertainty, grief, and the uncomfortable truth that intelligence does not necessarily make life easier. And in Inspector Calls, we returned again and again to the idea that our choices affect other people, whether we acknowledge that responsibility or not. And in The Kite Runner, we encountered one of the most hopeful ideas literature has to offer. That when we fail, when we hurt people, when we become versions of ourselves we are not proud of, there is still a way to be good again. I hope you remember that. Because adulthood is not about perfection. It is not about never making mistakes. You will make mistakes. You will disappoint people sometimes. You will fail to say the right thing or do the right thing or become the person you intended to be. What matters most is what you do next. What matters is whether you learn how to apologize sincerely, with or without cake. Repair what you can, continue to grow, and remember that it's the ordinary moments that make up a life. Now I'd like to tell one more story. Several months ago, Eleanor asked me, teasingly, as she is inclined to do, "So who's your favorite senior, Ms. Durango?" I don't think I said anything beyond giving her a look, but I did ponder it later that evening and many times since then. And I always come back to the answer that grandmothers everywhere give when asked who their favorite grandchild is. Do grandmas know the one? You are each my favorite in your own special way. Such a cliche, but also true. Each one of you brought something different into my classroom and into my life. Some of you made me laugh constantly. Some of you challenged me intellectually and otherwise. Some of you surprised me. Some of you worried me. Some of you reminded me why I loved teaching on days when I wasn't feeling like an A+ teacher. And I truly hope that at some point during your time here, each of you had at least one moment where you thought, Ms. Durango thinks I'm pretty smart. Or Ms. Durango thinks I'm a hoot. Or Ms. Durango values me for who I am. If you did not have at least one moment like that, then I sincerely apologize. Because at the end of the day, it doesn't actually matter to me whether you're able to find text evidence for Amir's guilt or Ophelia's madness or Mr. Burling's moral failure. What matters to me is that you leave this school feeling confident in your own worth, that you feel appreciated, respected, and deeply cared for by the people who had the privilege of teaching you. I hope we did that for you. Class of 2026, thank you for your humor, your arguments, your energy, your intelligence, and your trust. Thank you for letting me be a part of your lives and education. I wish for each one of you a lifetime of friends and family and love 1,000 times over.
It's the reason she has so many books published. Thank you, Ms. Durango. It is my distinct honor to present to you the graduating class of 2026, who have each completed the required course of study and have met all the graduation requirements. They are to be awarded diplomas with all the rights and privileges therein. We now turn to the presenting of the diplomas. Seniors, please stand when your name is called and come forward to the stage to receive your diploma. Rania Al-Harak. Shadeh Al-Tulu. Stella Ashdown. Eleanor Ball. Alistair Coomber. Allegra de Jesus. Tan Fat Din. Andrea Lisbeth Dittmer Mejia. Dylan Heller. Caitlin Kakert. Samir Abdul Khalik. Hua Lei. August Leinert. Winvo Nyo Luo. Hermine Moreau. Khan Axel Nguyen. Emilia Oviedo. Birai Azjan. Xavier Justin Robertson. And as a student who has been at Rivermont since kindergarten, you also get a copy of Oh, the Places You'll Go, signed by each of your teachers. Nicasio Cole Verdi Snyder. Bach Sebastian Zhuang. Yaya Tian. Alexander Ching Williams. And Jason Ju. I now invite Leanne Schrader to the podium to introduce our guest alum speaker.
If you haven't done so already, put your tassel on the left-hand side. So it's my pleasure to introduce Aiden Swiger. Class of 2025 is your alumni speaker. Aiden attends Washington University in St. Louis and is pursuing a biochemistry degree. Help me in welcoming Aiden to the stage.
I'm here today to welcome the 24 graduates into the Rivermont Collegiate Alumni Association. We hope that you will feel the same as I do about Rivermont. Visit often as you can and support the school in all you say and do. In the bags under your chair is your very own alumni card as a symbol of introduction into the Alumni Association and a gift from the school, a leather-bound book with the Rivermont crest on the front. Congratulations and welcome to the Rivermont Collegiate Alumni Association. Let's give them a round of applause.
Seniors, you did it. Congratulations. If you ever took my psychology class, and even if you didn't, you've probably heard me say that one of the keys to a happy life is to express gratitude. So, let's take a moment together to thank all the people who helped you reach this milestone. Turn around and face the crowd. Say thanks to your parents, your grandparents, your siblings, and other relatives who invested in you and supported you. Make sure to give them big hugs later. Now, turn to face the stage. Say thank you to your teachers and mentors who have imparted in you knowledge and wisdom over these years. In a moment, you'll have a chance to hug them or shake their hand and let them know one last time on this campus what they meant to you. Thank you all for coming. Please remain seated briefly until Mrs. Schrader releases you, giving me time to lead the faculty to form a receiving line around the mansion circle. Our faculty will congratulate each senior, and then our seniors will use the school's bell to ring themselves out. After that, they will gather in the center of the circle to move their tassels and toss their caps. Afterwards, please join us for a reception and light refreshments in Becker Hall. Let's give all these seniors one final round of applause.